Hello, my name is Kyle Kristen for Albany Student Broadcasting. Welcome to today's broadcast, featuring the Cougars of Albany High School wrestling against the Wildcats of Marin Catholic High School. Albany has had a small team all season, which has been reduced further through injuries. Tonight, the Cougars will only have 5 active varsity wrestlers take the mat. So in many respects, tonight is a practice session for important postseason tournaments. Stay tuned. Albany versus Marin Catholic will begin momentarily. Welcome back to Albany High School. This is Kyle Kristen. The Albany Wrestlers finished their league WACC in 3rd place with a record of 5-2. The WACC tournament will be next Saturday, February 22nd. Hopefully, a few Cougars will earn league titles and their portrait on the walls of the Albany Wrestling Room. For the first time in 43 years, that Albany Wrestling Room is not being roomed by legendary coach Kermit Bankson. Taking over this year for Bankson is his long-term assistant, Tyrone Rose. Albany Student Broadcasting prepared this profile of the very experienced but new head coach.
He was such a great first coach. I'd never wrestled before in my life. He was really supportive and a really good teacher as well, so it was a really nice start to such an intense sport.
And the intensity, and that's the part I like the most, is the intensity and working with kids with broader skills so that I can expand on the technique that I can show to them. There's a lot more behind the scenes responsibility as far as scheduling and that sort of thing. There's a lot of little things that you have to take care of that I would usually collaborate with Coach Bankson on, but now I have to do them myself, and it's a lot of work, but at the same time, it's all worth it. The wrestling team this year is very dedicated. They're very talented. We don't have as much depth as we've had in the past, but they're a great group of kids, and they work hard, and they have a great attitude.
And we're back with the Albany High School Wrestling. Once again, my name is Kyle Kristen, alongside Albany grad and former wrestler Jesse Chua. Tonight, with only 5 varsity players on the mat, the Albany Cougars will attempt to take on a full team of the Marin Catholic Wildcats. I have a feeling this is going to be an interesting setup tonight. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Contra Costa County Office of Educational Regional Occupational Program, a career training program created for high school students and adult learners. Alright, so here we have the individual scoring. Looks like the object of the match is to pin your opponent, which would be an automatic win.
Yeah, and you could also score a takedown, which is when the referee uses their discretion to see if the other person has gotten control of the other person. If the wrestler on bottom gets up and out of the control of their opponent, it's 1 point escape. And if before they escape, they go immediately to controlling the other wrestler, it's a reversal worth 2 points.
Cool. So, can you explain to us what a near fall is?
Near fall is when the one wrestler holds the other wrestler with their shoulder blades past a 45-degree angle with the mat. And if the ref gets to a 2 count, it is worth 2 points. And if they count all the way to 5, it can be worth 3 points.
And penalty points, how would you earn those?
If a wrestler commits a penalty, whether it be locking hands while they're on bottom position, or if they slam the other opponent, or use unnecessary roughness, any of the penalties, it could be worth 1 point for the first. The second offense would be 1 point as well, and then after that, they'll be worth 2 points.
Sounds good.
Hello everyone, thank you for attending the Albany High School Wrestling Pavilion. Tonight we will wrestle Marin Catholic. Before we get started, we would like to honor our seniors. First I'd like to honor Calvin Bernard. Calvin wrestled 3 years in the middle school, 3 years started varsity, and his parents, Emily and Brian Bernard. four-time varsity starter and two-time league champion. His parents, Alice and John Eden. Our next wrestler, her parents were not able to attend tonight due to prior commitments, but nevertheless, she will be recognized. She started wrestling as a sophomore, former gymnast. She was state champion last year and undefeated as a junior. And this year she's been state champion. She's 29-1. She's joined by her teammates who will be attending the NCS Girls Championship tomorrow. Before we get started, I have one last person I'd like to honor. Last year, we lost our coach in the fall, and so we missed him very much. He's passed away in October, but we'd like to honor his wife. I'd like to honor Lourdes. Will everyone please rise for the national anthem?
All right. Well, we're at Albany High School, and we've just finished congratulating all the senior wrestlers. They've done a great job, pulled us through many victories. I understand you were a previous wrestler. Did you get to watch these guys, grow?
Yeah, I've seen Calvin, Bob, and Tennessee. I've been wrestling with them since middle school, and they've really grown as wrestlers, just taking leadership. And now I believe Tennessee is the captain of the team this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure our team will do well tonight.
David, be ready. Ready? Take the hand, David. Take his hand, David. Underhook, David.
Looks like these are wrestlers from the other team.
Underhook, David. Get your legs back. Your hands out in front of you.
So,
Elbow tie, David.
Right
Elbow
now,
tie. Stay with it, David.
Luke has gotten a takedown on the Marin Catholic wrestler. Now he's going to work to pin him.
Hands free. Go forward. Don't look down. Head up. Head up. Head up. Don't look at the elbow. Go again, David. Up.
see, they're telling him to keep his head up. What would be what would happen if he let his head go down?
If he let his head down while trying to cradle him in this position, the other wrestler could just grab his head, pull him over, and get 2 points reversal. And you can see he got a 5 count here, so he got 3 points near fall.
3 points.
Back out. Go. Move your feet. Control it in. Let's go, David. You're out. Go. Get your head up. Get your head up, David. Push.
So, is the player on the bottom trying to work his way to his knees?
Yeah, the basic thing would be stay off your belly if you're on bottom, because all that pressure on top of you, it's a lot worse if you're on your belly. Work to your knees, stand up, and get your escape. It's the goal.
Move. Don't let him have it. Go. You don't stop wrestling, Dave. You stop. You have to stop. Up. You got to lift it up.
Seems like a very physical. I feel like you'd be tired.
Yeah, wrestling, it's 3 2-minute rounds, but it could be the longest 6 minutes of your life, is what a lot of us say.
Swim out, David. Swim out, Dave. Elbows in. Swim out. Elbows in. Come on. Keep moving.
Green choice, coach.
Neutral.
The referee flips the coin at the end of the first period to establish who gets to choose their position for the start of the next round.
Just a test, David.
How do they decide who's red or who's green?
Usually it's just based on the uniform colors, whatever makes it easiest. So Albany is the obvious red singlet, so we're red this dual meet.
Belly down, turn your hips away. Belly down, turn your hips away. Now crawl forward. Head up, crawl forward. Head up, David. Fight. Control that hand. Now up. Up, Dave, up.
So I've noticed
Turn your head away.
that while the other coach has been yelling at screaming at his player, Mr. Rose has been dead quiet. Is that a technique that Rose uses a lot?
Well, usually if Rose will see that our wrestler knows what they're doing, he usually saves his voice for when they really need it. Usually in the later rounds when our wrestler starts slacking off or if we look tired, Rose will give us a little boost.
I can imagine your voice would get tired from yelling.
Yeah.
Now get your elbow down and up. Up. Get your head off the mat, Dave. Look the other way, David. Move. Move your feet, Dave. Get your base.
So, what is he working for here?
Right now, Malik has, he has a cradle locked up right now. He's going to try and use that to turn the other wrestler on his back. It looks like his grip got broken, so he's going to try and work something else.
So he's going for a half Nelson on the left side.
Yeah, he's going to try and work that left side so the other wrestler doesn't go out of bounds.
Dave, tight waist and ankle, okay? Tight waist on the whistle. On the whistle, David. Pick it up. Lance, get up, Dave. Get up, Dave. Now climb up, Dave. Climb up.
So at this point, would Malik want to turn the other way? He wouldn't want to let the opponent get on his back.
When you're almost out and you're already standing up, you want to turn around and face your opponent. It's the easiest way to break their grip.
Stay set, please. Green cover, please.
You ready to shoot?
That. Yeah, keep that wrist.
Get that ankle. Drive it. Come on, David. Drive the ankle. Two hands on it. Two hands on it. Two hands on it.
Nice.
Now pull it in. Single leg. Now you have to single leg. Single. Head up, head up, head up. Hold on to that leg, Dave. Hold on to it.
I imagine you've been caught in a position like this before. What goes through your mind?
First of all, you just want to get away. Everything, it just goes into survival instincts at that point. You just want to get away and just start attacking once you're free.
Fight, David, fight. Get to your belly, Dave. David, get to your belly.
Left time.
And it looks like it's a 15-point deficit, which is a technical fall, an automatic win.
That was a pretty intense first match, I would
Yeah,
say.
we've already had blood time on the other team.
Oh, I see. Looks like he's got a bloody nose.
Yeah, they're pretty common in wrestling. Just get nicked on the nose once and it starts running.
So I've noticed that Albany High School has 3 coaches. What is the benefit of having?
Well, each of the coaches comes from their respective background in wrestling. One might be better at, say, throws or escaping. It really just adds diversity to how they coach the wrestlers on our team. It really helps develop all their skills.
I see that one of the coaches is Jason Griffin?
Jason Griffin, yeah.
Yes. The brother of one of the UFC fighters,
Yeah.
Jason Griffin. Is he a pretty good coach?
Yeah, he does a lot of jiu-jitsu and other types of just like scrambling moves, we say. Yeah, it's a really interesting wrestling style he brings.
Is it much different from Rose's, or?
Rose has a very just straightforward, stick to the basics approach. He really ingrains just like the regular stand-up escape and just double leg, single leg takedowns.
So at this point, when there are long breaks like this, do you just try to stay focused, kind of think about what to do next?
Usually, yeah. During these breaks, if your coach isn't the one helping you with your bloody nose and you're on the other team, it gives you a chance to just talk to your coach and learn what you need to work on in the match in particular.
Congratulations. Albany Broadcasting wants to wish you congratulations to the women's varsity soccer team who are playing against Richmond High in their TCAL championship game tomorrow, Saturday, February 15th. Looks like we're coming back. Nose is no longer bloody.
They've also taken the time to check the mat for any blood or just any sanitary issues.
Would those small breaks be a good time to analyze your opponent possibly, or?
Well, sometimes the opponent will show that they're tired, whether they're like limping off the mat or something, but for the most part, it's kind of hard to read your opponent in those times.
Look away. Look the other way. Up. Go. Turn your hips. Turn your hips, Dave. Turn them.
Looks like Malik slapped him in the face accidentally. Is that any kind of penalty, or just happens?
It's up to the discretion of the ref, but for the most part, if it looks like it was accidental, they don't really call it.
All right. Looks like Malik won that match. I noticed that his opponent went back into the match with toilet paper in his nose. Does that kind of distract you when something like that happens?
Yeah, the way they deal with bloody noses in wrestling is they actually take tampons and cut them in half, and they fold it up and just shove it in the nose. It works better than toilet paper, I guess.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
Whatever works.
So we're finished with our first match. And after your first one, would you feel very fatigued?
Depending on the match, sometimes you get pretty easy victories, just quick 30-second pins. But if you have like a match that goes into overtime, those could be really taxing, especially in tournaments when you have more matches to come.
Looks like here we have Calvin Bernard going against his opponent. Have you seen a change in his style at all, or many improvements?
Well, usually this happens for many people. Their freshman and sophomore year, they're kind of more timid because the high school atmosphere is a lot different than the middle school. But he's really sprouted and really developed his wrestling style.
What changes between middle school and high school? I've heard it's a lot different, a lot more intense.
In middle school, the periods are only 1 minute long, but in high school, they're 2 minutes. That doubling of time it really makes the difference. It's a lot more endurance.
So when they're training, how long would training usually be for a match like this?
Well, their practices are usually 2 hours long, and at the beginning of the season, we do a whole bunch of conditioning, just running, cardio, things like that, try and get your endurance up. But the best way to prepare is just wrestling. Wrestling is the only way to prepare for this.
Looks like Calvin has a pretty good position there, or almost.
He did get the 5 count though, which is another 3.
Build up. Put your arm back. Put your hand on the mat. Put your hand on the mat.
Right now he's locking up an arm bar on the opponent's left arm. He's going to rock him over with it in a tilt.
It looks like Calvin's almost on his back though, so if you were in a position like that and you were both on your back, who would get in the point?
Usually there is a clear person that's in control and just executing the move. So as long as you're in control, you'll get the near fall, and the opponent won't get points for you being on your back.
So you have to stay within the circle here. What would happen if do you lose points, or does your opponent gain points if you were thrown out?
In high school wrestling, there's no deduction or points given for going out of the mat. But it's about body position. So if you're turning them on their back, but their back is outside the mat, it won't count for anything.
You have to be ready, Stephen. You have to go shoot. You can't stop when you go underneath there. And that's what you did. That's why you whipped it over. Don't stop. Shoot off. Go ahead. Punch your underhook.
Being experienced in this, the first couple of seconds when you're face to face, nothing's going on. It's kind of going through your head.
Well, the first thing you want to do is get good wrist control, because if you could grab the wrist, you could open them up and potentially take some shots at them.
Are there any moves that you practice maybe during training that you're planning on using, or is it just whatever's open?
Usually it's just whatever's open, but in practices we take time to drill specific moves like single legs and double legs. But it's up to you during a match, usually.
Set, please. Red cover.
On the whistle. Now go! Up! Turn!
One escape green.
You gotta be
So
aggressive, Stephen.
that was an escape, looked like.
Yep.
Go. Throw that head, Steve. Throw it.
Calvin lost control, but then
Kick!
I guess he took him down right here.
Looks like his headgear came off,
Yeah.
getting a little rough. If the coach is yelling, is it difficult to hear them under that headgear? It seems like they kind of.
There are different kinds of headgears. Like, as you can see, the Marin Catholic headgear, those are one of the harder ones to hear coaches through. But some have open ear cups, which makes it a lot better.
Go! Get lower than him. Snap. Hit the ankle. 2-on-1, Steve. 2-on-1, Steve. Elbow
Speaking of
wrist.
equipment, looks like they've gotten some nice shoe wear there.
Yeah, I believe wrestling shoes are made specifically to stick better to the mat, so you can have more force going into your moves.
Pull him back in. Pull him back in. Press start.
Are there any particular brands that are just made for?
Well, Asics is a pretty big wrestling shoe brand. A lot of kids are wearing Asics shoes. Also Adidas and Nike, I guess. I don't know. I seem to see more people wearing flashy shoes, so it's starting to become a fashion trend among wrestlers.
10 seconds. Let's get a point. Score. Don't back up. 2-on-1. 2-on-1. Elbow wrist. Get his head up. Get his head up. Don't let him shoot on you.
Red choice. What do you want?
So there, looks like they were working for head positions. Where do you want to be in that?
In head position, you want your head on the other opponent's ear, because that really forces their. If you force their head away from their body, their whole body is going to also follow. So if you can get that head position, it opens them up for more shots.
Clear. Clear. Here you go.
Is he going for a choke? I didn't think those were legal in.
It's not a choke, but he's trying to get his legs in the other wrestlers. It looks like Calvin is holding onto his foot though, so it's making it difficult.
I think Calvin did a good job there. I mean, what do you want to be doing when you're stuck in a position like that?
If they're trying to get a leg right on you, Calvin did a really good job of just not letting him get the other leg in. A double leg right is really hard to get out of.
Get up! Get up! Single leg. Hey, do you think you can do a forearm and ankle side?
Stay set. Cover.
Ride it! Ride it! Cradle, there it is!
Cradle looks like a pretty popular move among
Step to the other
among the wrestlers.
Yeah, cradle it's a pretty basic move, but it's pretty widely used.
He's one of those ones that's almost always there.
Yeah, for a cradle, all you gotta do is just lock up their head with one of their legs, and it's tough to fight out of.
Don't close the gap, so you're too far away. Get up, hop up, don't stay there.
Let it around.
Stay your back, Steve. Turn.
Right now, Calvin's trying to stay in the mat so he could get the takedown.
Butt down, head up, go, go, go. Good. 20 seconds, let's do it again. Score. Score. Don't let him in there. Keep your hands in front
Like
of
this, they want to stay low, right? So they can't get a double leg or a single leg. They kind of
Yeah,
take down.
yeah.
Get his ankle. Go with his ankle. Get his ankle. Lock your hand. Lock your hand. Hold, stay right there. 5 seconds. Good job.
Takedown red.
Both already looking pretty fatigued.
Yeah. Looks like Albany got the second match as well.
Killing them. So Calvin Bernard wins the second match for Albany High School. Looks like they're having one-on-one talk with the coaches. They do they review how the match went or tell them?
Yeah,
What's going on
exactly. Right when they come off the match, usually the coach will let them know what to work on and how to clean up their wrestling.
And we have Bob. He's short and stocky, so it looks like he usually has to go with taller guys.
Yeah, Bob's kind of at a weird weight class for his height. Usually his opponents are a head taller than him, but he's learned to work with it.
So it looks like it's a lot of strength.
Yeah, wrestling is, it's part technique, but you can only get so far with technique before you need to start training your just arm strength, leg strength, everything.
So for Bob, what do you want to do here? Seeing that he's about a head shorter than his opponent. Looks like it's kind of a difficult position he's in.
For Bob, usually his opponents will have longer reach than him, so he needs to watch out for shots. Right now, when they're hand fighting, they're trying to fight for inside position, where they'll be grabbing the inner part of their opponent's arm. It gives them better setups for shots and whatnot.
Bob being shorter, I feel like should he be able to get more shots than his opponent, or is that?
Well, for Bob, it's hard because they could keep their distance from him with their arms and their longer reach. Yeah, they could keep their elbow on his collarbone over there. That's a technique some wrestlers use.
The headgear came off. Does that happen often as well? That kind of a pain.
Yeah, usually you'll want to get your headgear fit correctly on your head, but it happens. If the ref sees that no one's in the process of getting a scoring move, they'll stop the match to fix the headgear.
Finally got to the ground here.
Yep.
Shoot off of that. Nick, don't tie up with him. You only just hold it onto your head. That's it. Go on. Get off. Get off him. Okay, let's shoot from the outside. Shoot from the outside. Get nothing to lose. Let's go. Shoot, circle, and go. Don't reach for him. Go below him. Lower him. Lower.
Very intense look on his face. Really wants to get in there, it looks like.
Yeah. Now Bob wants to work up to his knees to try and get an escape.
Working that crossface there. How would you defend against the crossface? It's a good defense for that.
Well, you don't want to look into the direction they're cross-facing you. That just helps them. It looks like he's trying to cradle him over here.
Seen it a few times that they grab the feet and they try to wrench it up. What's the point of that?
The ankle is a really good thing to grab when you're on top. You want to get their ankle, and basically if you could get it into the air, you could turn them over pretty easily. Right there, you could call, if you're on top, you could call for neutral, and your opponent will get 1 point for an escape, but it also sets you up to get another takedown.
Change the level. 25 seconds. Get out of the side. Get out of the side. Let go.
Imagine you being thrown around a lot. Do the coaches train you to fall properly, or is there like a particular way you want to fall, or what position you want to fall into, or?
Well, the main thing coaches teach us is not to fall on like a locked elbow or something like that, because that could be pretty bad. But they don't really drill falling technique too much.
More staying up, right?
Yeah, mostly the defense before the fall.
Going for another cradle here. It's
Yeah.
like seems like an unfair advantage. Doesn't seem like the other guy has long enough arms he can just reach around Bob's entire body.
Yeah, Bob has that problem with his tall opponents. They're able to just cradle him pretty easily.
Looks like he's sitting out there.
Yeah, he's trying to sit out, get hand control, and get out of the bottom position. His opponent's doing a good job of keeping hand control though, which is making it hard for Bob. Looks like he tried to go for a desperation throw right there.
Got a lot of people cheering for him. The
Yeah.
people that are here.
Bob's only down by 1 point, and it's a pretty short time right now, so they want to score, at least get it into overtime.
He almost got that single leg there.
Yeah,
Some slap the mat.
yeah, it's tough when you're so close to getting that last takedown to win it, but just time isn't long enough.
He did a good job though. If you fought hard, I mean, it's difficult with an opponent that much taller than you. Or
Yeah. For Bob, he also usually wrestles up a weight class during dual meets. So he's down by a lot of weight.
so when they're training you guys, does Bob do something different in in training because he's usually against different opponents, or is it just?
It's tough for Bob to train because he still is our heaviest person on the team right now. So he hasn't really got a chance to work with bigger guys. I believe this is Yinda wrestling right now. I think it's his first year on the team.
Oh, already at the cradle.
Yeah, he wants to really work the fingers of the other opponent to break the grip.
Seems like a pretty scary position to be in for
Yeah.
Yinda here.
Whenever you turn onto your back, it's just fight as much as you can.
So for the refs, and they must know a lot. Most of them wrestlers before, do you think, or?
Yeah, I think most of them usually have experience with wrestling at least because there are a bunch of rules that you need to know. A bunch of penalties, just, yeah.
So when you're trying to get your knees, do you use more arm strength, or is it more of a leg strength kind of workout, or?
It's more, it's more of a core workout than anything. Yeah, you need a really strong core to build up your base and just stand up.
So do they work with weights? Is there a time of the week that they go and hit the weights?
I believe this year they started optional weight training as a part of practice. It's the first year that they've done that, besides the optional off-season practices.
Looks like Yinda's opponent's a little more tired than he is. Is it more tiring being the attacker, or is it more tiring being the defender?
Well, it depends on your style of wrestling. If you're the type of person to just stall out time, you could be on top but still have a lot of energy. But if you're attacking the whole time, it's really rough. A lot of wrestling is trying to budget your time. Be sure you still have energy in the third period.
Turn that one around a little bit.
Yeah, when you're shooting, you don't really want to be on your knees, but looks like he still got the takedown. Right there, Yinda just got called for a full Nelson, which is an illegal move. So that'll be 1 point for his opponent.
Going for the single leg there. Do you want to? Do they want to squat down, like drop to your knees before you get to that single leg, or is it a good idea what he's doing, kind of bending over and trying to go for it?
When someone shoots on you, your first line of defense is just sprawling, which is getting your whole weight on top of them and trying to push them down, just flatten them out.
I imagine you drill that a lot.
Yeah. It's one of the central parts of wrestling.
Again.
Looks like his opponent's getting pretty tired.
At this point in the match, I assume you would.
Yeah.
See, Coach Quincy's calling out cross-face ankle. What does that mean?
Well, first he wants to get the cross-face, and if you could get the ankle, you could just lift it up, turn him over with it. It's a good way to pin your opponent.
I assume that if you hear your coach yelling at, or your opponent's coach yelling out what he should be doing, you kind of want to correct that? Is that kind of aid you?
Yeah, sometimes if you could catch your opponent's coach saying, like, look out, he's tired or something like that, it's kind of a reminder for you to just stay in position and whatnot. Right now he's trying to use his head and his side to maybe lock up the cradle.
Really going for that half Nelson there.
Yeah.
Side to side. Close match.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he's taking it too hard. So I understand that league has won 14 tournaments in a row, or?
Yeah, we had a 14-year league streak in BSAL for the most part, but also some other leagues. And this year is the first year we haven't won it in that 14-year streak.
Well, I'm sure they'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Get it back together by the next year.
Yeah, I've heard the middle school has a lot of promising freshmen for next year.
We have Zachary Gilberg here.
Yep, it's his first year, I believe, coming in as a sophomore. He has a good single leg right now, and what he wants to do is knock his opponent over, get the 2 points. And there's that cross face, the defense.
Yeah. Preventing his opponent from getting a single leg.
Yeah. And right there, he locked up the cradle, so he got the 2 points takedown, and now he's getting near fall right here. So after Zachary got out of the scoring position, the ref called time so he could reset his headgear.
Oh, already got him down.
What he wants to do is get that half nice and tight and hold him down to the ground. Looks like he got another 3 points near fall.
To get your opponent on his back, and then to have him get off his back, does that kind of? I mean, how do you feel after that? Usually, is it kind of like I got points, or is it I mean, he's back up.
Well, sometimes there are certain moves that are kind of just aimed towards getting near fall, not really pinning moves, but in the end, you're still getting points, so it's not really a bummer.
Young action, will they get moved or put back to another position if they don't move too much, or?
Well, first the ref could call a stalemate. If he sees that both wrestlers can't advance in position, he'll call stalemate and reset them. But also when they call action, sometimes that means that they're about to call a stalling.
See a lot of people that have already wrestled are resting and drinking. How does it usually feel when you're done and you're watching your team?
Well, part of it is a relief because you don't have to be so anxious about your match. But also it's kind of tiring. You can't really focus as much, especially if you're cutting down from a high weight to a lower weight class. You could be super dehydrated. And it looks like he got the pin.
First pin of the night.
Yep. After every match, it's sort of a sportsmanship thing where you go and shake the other coach's hand.
To go rejoin with his teammates. See, they'll have cheers that they make them up and.
Well, usually it's the same. Just yell the person's name out. That's the only cheer we really have.
Here we have Garen Pelasuma. He's one of our top wrestlers.
Yep, I believe he's ranked in the top 40, I'd say, in state, I think, if I remember correctly.
It's a flashy shoe game. You grew up watching him wrestle too, so what was it like to watch?
Well, I remember in middle school, he didn't really seem like he was too into it, but once he started wrestling in high school, he really picked up the pace, and now he's a junior, and he's just dominating his opponents.
Do you say he's a lot more technique than some of the other wrestlers?
Yeah, he really spent a lot of time in the off season just wrestling. Just he just got better. Right here, his opponent is trying to get out of bounds to maybe reset and have another chance at an escape. But Garen's doing, oh, Garen was doing a good job of keeping him in the ring.
It's pretty intimidating. Do the other schools know much about the other players?
Well, at tournaments, you always just see the usual, like, stud wrestlers, but it's really just if you try and focus on it, then you'll know.
Switch that half Nelson to the other side pretty quick there.
Yeah, you need to see an opening and just take it as soon as you see it. Aaron's doing a real good job at exploiting the mistakes that his opponent's making.
That took a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Unlike most of the wrestlers I've seen, he has a very calm look upon him. Is that because he knows that he's not in any danger? Or?
I think Garen probably feels really comfortable right now in this match, so I don't think he's too anxious about this match. So he got the takedown in. He's trying to pull him back in the ring again.
Doesn't look like he's panicking too much because he's keeping a calm head.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of keeping his weight on his opponent, so it's a pretty comfortable position when your opponent is on their belly, still trying to get up.
He's doing the wrench.
This is just a pump handle, is what we call it. You just lock around both arms and lock around their head.
Oh, the cradle there, pretty.
Yep. He had it pretty well. Got the pin.
That was Garen Pelasuma, another win. Running, not walking.
It's always good to keep the energy up.
They're lining up.
Yep, to shake hands with their opponents. Looks like it was a pretty short beat today.
All right. I think Albany High School did a pretty good job. Won all but two.
All but one. Two, yes.
thank you for joining us. Albany Broadcasting in the Albany High School gym. Looks like there were a lot of good players out there.
Yeah, for their small team, Albany looks pretty solid for what they have.
A lot of newcomers and
Yeah, we've got a lot of new kids, but we've also had our veterans.
all right. Albany High School Broadcasting tonight was produced by Lainey Maris, directed by Ryan Glatt, technical director Jacob Crowley, associate producer Chris Qualls Parker, engineer in charge Ori Mouse, audio 1 Brandon Yee, 2 Elliot Wong, Margarita Bug, Miranda Pack, Julie Cow, I'm Kyle Kristen, this is Jesse Cow, and we're off.